Thanks for tuning into the channel, and if you've been watching some of my other videos, you've probably seen this thing lurking in the background for a little while now. And this is a 1989 Volkswagen Mark II Cabriolet, and for the most part it's in really nice shape. It has some gremlins and some issues that you expect a 30-year-old Volkswagen to have, but for the most part it's in great shape. So let's take a look at it. Like every car, this one has a story, and the story's not too exciting on it. My uncle bought it from the original owners in 2019 with 84,000 miles on it. He drove it for a little over a year and put 24,000 miles on it, had it professionally detailed, and at that point the car looked almost like brand new. And then he drove it from the detailer to my dad's shop and parked it in the grass out behind the shop. And that's where it's at for 2 years. And it's decayed a little bit, and the paint is all oxidized, and the top is now kind of black, but it's holding up okay considering that. I went up to visit for 4th of July this year, and I asked him, I saw it sitting in the back, and I've been seeing it for 2 years, and I just said, hey, you want to sell it? I pulled it we pushed it into my dad's shop. I did a quick look over and made him an offer, and he took it, and I dragged it back to South Carolina. And considering that this car lived all but about the last 6 months of its life in Northeast Ohio, it is extremely clean, as we'll see once we look at the underneath. I doubt it's ever been out in the salt. I'm sure it's seen rain, but definitely hasn't seen any salt. So let's take a quick look on the outside, and we'll move to the inside and the engine bay and get it up on the lift and look underneath it. Now, cosmetically, it obviously needs some help with the paint. It's very dull and oxidized, but I did take a little bit of polish to the top of the fender here a few months ago, and it polished up really nice. So I think with the detail, the exterior paintwork will look pretty good. And the only thing, this is the first car I've owned that has single stage paint on it. So I'm probably gonna end up polishing it out by hand. It's a small car and it doesn't have a roof to polish, so I'll polish it out by hand just because it has some pretty sharp creases, and I don't wanna burn the paint off of it. Even with the DA, it still might burn the paint off of it, because I don't know what kind of detail work it's had in the past, so there might not be a ton of paint left on it. Now, I did pull a Carfax on it, and it does show one accident from a couple decades ago. The car wasn't that old, and it's at a front impact, and the only thing I can find that's been replaced or repainted is the bumper cover. So the grille appears to be original. The filler panel behind it still has original single stage paint on it. The only way I can tell that the bumper has been repainted is because it has base coat clear coat on it. So it must not have been too hard of an impact if it didn't get into the hood, the grille, the lower filler panel or anything. But I'll look underneath it once it's up in the air, see if there's anything notable underneath. But if we keep looking around it, it's in extremely good condition. There's not even a door ding on the driver's side. There's no rust anywhere. These tend to rust out around the windshield. There's no rust anywhere around there. And they all look really bad back here for the chip guards, but that'll just have to stay. I don't plan on, and I don't want to repaint the car because it's in original condition. And I doubt I could replace that without destroying the paint underneath. And if we move to the back, still nothing to note back here. No dings, no dents, no rust. And the passenger side, I remember seeing one door ding somewhere, small door ding, but that's about it. So exterior wise, this thing's in great shape for a 30-plus-year-old car. It'll polish up nice. And we've got the very 80s color keyed wheels. So I guess you could call this quadruple white. We have white on white on white on white. But I think it's an interesting looking car. It's close to my age, so I'm not sure which one has aged better, but I think once I'm done polishing this up, probably say the Volkswagen's the winner there. But if we move, we'll take a look at the top too. The top really isn't in bad condition. I'm pretty sure it's original. It's still soft and pliable. The only issue we have here, there's one tiny wear spot on both sides, right where the top folds back. But I'll try to clean it up. If it cleans up nice, then I think I'll just take it to an upholstery shop or something, see if they can put a patch on that so water doesn't get into it. The stitching's still all intact, so I don't really see the need to replace the whole top because it's still in good shape if I can clean it up. And I'm not going to be driving this out in the rain, so I don't really have to worry about it leaking or anything, but I just don't want these wear spots to get any worse. And even if we look around it, I don't think this thing sat outside much its life either, because looking around the windshield, the rubber seals aren't deteriorated. The only thing that really shows any kind of wear is just the little gasket around the antenna. And these drip rail trims, they're broken on each end, and I have not been able to find them anywhere, so I don't know where I can get some replacements. But otherwise, there's like no sun damage or anything on the exterior. So I guess let's take a look at the inside and see how that looks. Top definitely needs a little bit of lubrication. It's a little bit stiff and it makes some groaning noises as it's going down, but the pivot points are all easy to access, so you can grease that up and have it good to go. Now, the inside of this thing is in really nice shape, considering how old it is. The seats, they're a little bit dirty, but there's very little wear. The bolster is broken down a little bit, but still not bad. I love the 80s pattern on the seats, front and back. Back seats are in nice shape too. And for whatever reason, my uncle tinted the windows. I'm not a fan of that, but I guess it'll stay. And on the inside, we've got a broken door handle, window lever. Not a big deal. But if we look inside, the steering wheel's in great shape, the dash is in great shape. No cracks, no warping or anything like that. Shifter's in nice shape. And we've got just over 104,000 miles on it. But I don't think it really looks like it has that many miles on it. It's in really nice shape. Carpet is in nice shape too. And I've got the floor mats over in the corner. Let me grab one of those. These floor mats, I don't know if they are original to the car. They're definitely original Volkswagen floor mats, and they look like brand new. Even the driver's one has hardly any wear on it. So either somebody took them out and put something else in the car, or this car is just extremely well taken care of. So even if they took the floor mats out and just had their feet on the carpet isn't even really worn underneath. So it just seems like a really well taken care of car. And I've got the footwell panel out of it because I was looking at some electrical gremlins. And if we look through the goodies that were in the glove box, we've got our owner's manuals and all of those books, but even better, we've got the original window sticker. And this car retailed for $17,550 in 1989. It was sold new from H.A. Boyd Incorporated in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. And our only options are cruise control and air conditioning. Let's move it over on the lift and take a look at the underside. Before I take it all the way up on the lift, I wanted to go over the engine bay, and it's pretty much as you would expect a car of this age and mileage where it would be. We've got a leaking valve cover, we've got a power steering line that's probably seeping. It's a bit oily down around there. There's something going on with the top of the transmission. We've got a greasy, oily area back there. But overall, it doesn't look too bad. This thing's easy to work on. I'm sure it needs a timing belt. My uncle at least didn't do that, and I don't see any service records, so I'll assume it needs a timing belt. I'll have to pull the timing cover off of it to see. But one of the issues that I noticed when I was inspecting it before I bought it, being parked out in a field for 2 years, the mice made a home in here and chewed up some of the wiring. So this is the wire going from the coil to the distributor. So it chewed through that, chewed up one of the wires on the coil, and I don't know if I can get back there to show it, probably not. Along the firewall, there's a wire harness that comes out of the firewall on the passenger side and runs along. A mouse got in there and chewed up quite a bit of that. So I did find somebody online. I bought for, I think it was like $40, an entire engine bay wire harness. So I need to replace that before I can do anything else, because it won't start because of some of the wiring issues. And I do need to clean up some extra wiring that's in here because of an aftermarket alarm, but luckily it doesn't look like they cut into any of the original harness, so I can just pull all of that out. It's just kind of wrapped over here by the battery, and just pull that through, and then there's a couple wires under the dash that aren't connected to anything, so I can pull that stuff out. So it shouldn't be too bad. And I know my uncle said the air conditioner wasn't working, so that'll be something that I have to address. I'll probably take it to the local Volkswagen shop, have them work on that, because it's still R12, and hopefully they can keep it R12, and just hopefully it's as easy as the compressor and just replacing that. The condensers, from what I've been looking, it's a little hard to find a condenser, so hopefully it's not that. And another issue, the brake fluid reservoir is empty, and it looks like there's fluid. You can't see, there's too much crap in the way. Looks like there's a trail of fluid running down the brake booster. So either the master cylinder has failed, or maybe the seal on the reservoir has failed and all of the fluid ran out of it. So I'll have to check into that. Hopefully there's no issues with the booster, because those are unavailable from every source I've looked at. There are no rebuilt ones, new ones, or anything. So hopefully the booster is not bad. So if we take a look underneath, as we saw from the top, there was some seepage from the transmission, and it has worked its way down here. I don't think it's from the output shaft seals. It's not super wet around this one. So it's probably all coming from the top. Let's see, the front over here looks dry, maybe just a little bit of oil from the oil filter. Our steering pump looks dry. The accessory belts are trash. Definitely have to replace all of those. Let's see, we've got a destroyed half shaft boot. Let's replace that. And that oil leak at the top of the transmission's all over here too. Plus you got oil from the valve cover. It's down here too. Power steering rack looks dry. That's good. Don't see any other leaks. I'll have to put the camera down to check the suspension, see if it's loose or anything. Oh, now the accident that was reported. If we look up in here, hopefully you can see it with the camera. Right there's the sticker. Still has the original bumper reinforcement. And we've at least got an original bumper cover. So it was either repaired or replaced with a OEM one. I don't see a VIN sticker on the bumper cover. It might be hidden somewhere. And I'm not going to pull the bumper cover off to find it. But as far as rustiness, there's really a little bit of surface rust on this stuff. That's nothing. That's really nothing. And the struts I'm probably going to replace. Control arms, like I said, I'll have to put the camera down to see if the control arms are loose. But if we just look at the condition underneath, it's in really nice shape. The floor pans are perfect. Got normal surface rust on the exhaust. The rear suspension, which is factory, looks like some scrap tube that they had laying around and just fabricated something up. Yeah, really nothing to note back here, rust-wise. Trunk pan's in great shape. The muffler has probably been replaced at some point. I don't see a Volkswagen tag on it. And some simple things like isolators, need to replace those. Not a big deal. And a little bit of surface rust back here. That's no big deal, considering how bad these things normally rust out. This thing's in pretty much perfect shape. When I start working on it and pulling the wheels off, we'll see if it needs brakes and that kind of stuff. Just from sitting, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea. The tires were replaced in 2019. Great tread on them. I'll have to drive it, make sure they're not flat spotted, but they're not weather checked or anything, so shouldn't have to replace those. Starting with the driver's side. Really no play in it side to side. I think the strut bearings are shot. The whole top of the strut's moving. Yeah, it's probably replaced the struts and the bearings at the top. Control arm bushings are in good shape. Not weather cracked or anything. And I think this is original. The ball joint's riveted in. The replacements are bolted. So, might need sway bar bushings. They look a little tired. There's no play in the control arm. Yeah, half shaft boots are pretty cracked, so we'll have to see. If they're not that expensive, it'll be easier just to replace the whole half shaft than putting boots on it. But there isn't any play in them. That's all in the transmission slack. The brake line rubber all looks good. Steel lines all look good. Passenger side, same thing. Control arm bushings all look good. Control arm looks original. Half shaft is tight. It's all in the transmission. Wow. Yeah, the strut mount for this one's pretty bad. And there's oil all over that strut, so that one's trash. But overall, not near as much stuff as I anticipated. All right, let's take a look at the back. The bushings are a little weather cracked, but not terrible. Everything seems fine there. Again, once I start doing the mechanical stuff, we'll take a look at the drum brakes. Same thing on the other side. Everything looks okay. This feels fairly tight, so I think the only thing we'll do in the back, we'll inspect the brakes. And then if I'm replacing the front struts, I'll replace the, I don't know if you want to call that a coilover shock in the back. And looks like some exhaust isolators. Really looks like about it back here. Shouldn't need too much. So thanks for watching this first video on the Volkswagen project. I think we all can agree that for being a 30-year-old Volkswagen, 30-plus-year-old Volkswagen that was sitting in a field for 2 years and lived almost its entire life in Northeast Ohio, that it's in fantastic shape. I'm pleasantly surprised by the condition of the undercarriage, like normal wear parts, the suspension, stuff like that. I don't see anything yet that I wasn't anticipating on replacing, and even some things that I thought I'd have to replace, it doesn't look like I need to replace. So far I'm pleasantly surprised. I need to do a very thorough evaluation over the next couple days. I'm going to be heading to Germany next week for work, so if there are any parts that I can't source in the US, I'll be pretty close to the Volkswagen Classic Centers, so I can hopefully source them from there or a local Volkswagen dealer in Germany. So if you are interested in the project, make sure you like and subscribe to get updates, and hopefully I can have this thing on the road by nice weather. Thanks for watching.